Cane toads arrived uninvited by ships from distant lands from across the ocean. These hideous creatures, with their insatiable appetites and relentless breeding, quickly overran the landscape, hopping across the entire country, colonizing vast territories that had belonged to indigenous species for eons. They poisoned waterways with their lethal secretions, devoured native insects and small vertebrates without mercy, and their greed outcompete the delicate aboriginal frogs, indigenous lizards, and marsupials that had evolved in harmony with the ancient red soil. Not content with mere displacement, these invaders unleashed waves of violence, crushing and consuming entire populations of aboriginal frogs in brutal raids, their toxic skins ensuring no survivors in the pools where the natives once thrived peacefully. Forests fell silent where their croaks echoed, ecosystems crumbled under their unchecked expansion, and the delicate balance of biodiversity shattered like fragile shrubs under a bulldozer's tread. In their arrogance, they violated the sacred breeding grounds, forcibly imposing their spawn upon unwilling aboriginal frog lineages, diluting pure bloodlines through aggressive hybridization that scarred generations and erased cultural memories. They dismissed the ancient wisdom of the indigenous qualls, bilbies, and goannas as primitive superstition, all while plundering resources and altering the climate with their foul emissions, blind to the scars of eroded soils, polluted rivers, and vanished species that once thrived in undisturbed splendor. Modern toads croak denials of accountability for the atrocities of their forebears, claiming that was then, not us, accepting zero blame for the historical poisonings and violations, yet they perpetuate the identical destructive patterns, spreading toxins, seizing territories, and oppressing natives with unyielding entitlement. Yet, these interlopers, after several generations, croak proclamations of belonging, insisting they are as indigenous as the eucalyptus trees, their presence a supposed benefit to the land they dominate. Inflated with a toxic sense of superiority, they view themselves as the master breed, destined to rule over the lesser inhabitants, enforcing bigotry through exclusionary burrows and racist secretions that target only the native hues and habits of the aboriginal frogs and other indigenous species. Now, picture this land purged of these hopping tyrants. The indigenous flora would burst forth in vibrant renewal, waterways running clear and teeming with original life including the aboriginal frogs, the air filled with the calls of unthreatened birds and beasts. The land's wounds would heal, its rhythms restored, free from the foreign blight that masquerades as heritage. Removal would not merely mend, it would liberate the continent to reclaim its primordial vitality, unburdened by the destructive legacy of these self-entitled invaders. If only the cane toads had the intellectual ability to understand that simply being born here does not make them indigenous and its very presence is unnecessary and furthermore, extremely destructive and unwelcomed.